Hello, it's me, Morgan. So I thought it would be fun to do a little Q&A today. Let's get started, shall we? If your atelier had a scent, what would it be? I'll tell you what it is. Astier de Viat candles or incense. I love them. Their candle Marseille was my favorite. It was my signature scent. They discontinued it. This happens to me a lot. Also, Cire Trudon Ottoman was my favorite and again discontinued. In terms of the incense, I do love Shoyedo Japanese temple incense. It's something that we stocked at our shop Club Duquette for a decade. You can still get it online. Ooh, this is an interesting one. When you paint, do you feel like you're translating something unseen or creating it from scratch? When it comes to my painting practice, it becomes like a ritual. It's a ritual for me. And it doesn't always start the same way, but essentially, I am working into a flow state. There's a sort of energetic resonance that happens, it's a frequency. And my mind quietens, my mind becomes quiet. And it feels not like I leave my body, but I just zoom out. I soften my gaze. And I love painting to music, and I can feel the waves of the music connect to the energy of my body and through the movement of my arm that paints. I do sometimes paint with my non-dominant arm, and I will sometimes paint with both at the same time. It is me, but it is like a pure consciousness state, or maybe something adjacent to that. Ooh, I like this question. How do astrology and human design influence your day-to-day creative life? I have my day planner. I write the astrology notes in it. So if I know that some weird Mars Saturn stuff happening or Mercury's in its pre-retrograde, these kinds of things I haven't noted on there. And then when I make my week calendar of what I'm doing, I know which days would maybe run smoother if I did this task, or definitely don't have a meeting on this day, or I do my product launches using astrological notes, which has been pretty cool. I've had some really phenomenal, like magic success stories from doing that. Does it mean it's guaranteed? No. It's like surfing, waiting in the present moment until my perfect wave meets me, and then suddenly I'm on it and it's like the best ride ever. So also in this day planner, at the end of every day, I will write a detailed log of what I did that day, any interesting conversations, any challenges, even, just the mundane, like did this. And then what's great is that when there are bigger astrological movements like an eclipse season, I can look back in time and see how those signatures were showing up in my life. Human design, my application of human design is in every part of my life, and it's considered in the back of my mind in my relationships all the time too, or in the way I have conversations, in the way I work with clients, in the way I advise, with some of my consulting clients, how I can help support them in the work they do, in the relationships they have, whether it's a parent-child relationship, an interpersonal, romantic, partnered relationship, or even with, people in high executive positions who are running teams. Like, how can I give you insights that you can then apply to how you approach things? We want to keep going with the woo-woo questions. I love this. You often talk about intuition, energy, and the unseen. How does your intuition show up in your creative decisions? Let me tell you, I actually have spent the past 10 years building profound trust in myself and in the universe. And I think that's what intuition is. Yes, we do have these extrasensory gifts. In human design, you'd look up your cognition. Mine is feeling. But I do believe, whether it's through the lens of human design or any other lens, we do have this. God, the brain has so much capacity and abilities that we haven't even harnessed yet. And then our relationship between our body and our body, our environment, our mind, our body, our environment. There's magic there, potential for magic all the time. The magic's there all the time, and the potential to work with it is there all the time too. I've really been cultivating this profound trust in myself and the universe. It does not always show up in the same way. What I find is the most aligned is if I am able to turn off the constant thinking mind, to soften the gaze, to zoom out a little bit. And if I find myself suddenly in movement before my mind even cognitively knows what's happening, that is the most authentically true, correct thing I can do. For example, and this is a story, we're going to go places in this one. Summer of 2024, I was in Italy for one of my best friend's weddings. It was incredible. We stayed in a 15th century villa. I was surrounded by incredible artists, people who had really just, aligned their lives with the life they dreamed of living and put in the work to make it their reality. And it cleared a lot of the noise for me. We had been living in the same house for 16 years, which is like crazy for me. That feels insane. It was a great home base for a long time, but I profoundly wanted change and had been for a while. And I knew it was coming. I knew it hadn't arrived yet. I knew that if I was trying to force the action, it wasn't going to happen. It would just lead to frustration and more, kind of circling around the same thing over and over. So I was in Italy and I just had this profound clarity about some big things in my life. And we did a day trip to Florence. I went to the Gucci Garden store there, which is just gorgeous. They have a Gucci mailbox and you can buy yourself a Gucci postcard and send it anywhere in the world. And their stamps are little Gucci stamps. It's very cute. So I got a postcard and I sent it to myself. Okay. And then it goes off into international mail. I finished my trip in Italy. It is profound, it is life-changing. Some really powerful revelations occurred inside me. And I came home. My family, who wasn't able to go on this trip with me, we were back home in Alabama, sitting on the couch, and my son had really been wanting to move. And he looked at me, as he often did, and said, "Mom, when are we moving?" And I would always say, "I'm working on it," because I didn't feel the clarity. I wasn't going to say it was happening before it was just suddenly happening. And I started to say, "I'm working on it." And something stopped, and I stood up and I said, "We're moving." And the next day, I got boxes and started packing up our house. I had no idea where we were going. There was no plan, but there was this profound knowing, it wasn't even the knowing, it was profound radical action suddenly happening. And that's when I knew, oh, I've caught my wave. My perfect wave has come. I am on the surfboard. We are in action and I don't know where we're going, but it's happening. So 2 weeks later, some very good friends of ours asked us over to dinner and they were like, "Hey, we've got this mansion and it's 5 stories. And would y'all want to rent the apartment in it?" And I was like, "How funny you should ask that. I just packed up my house." And that's what happened. We moved into that house. Okay, so by that time, it's late September. I had been in Italy in July, sent myself a postcard in July. We move into this house in late September, and my mail gets forwarded. Inside that mail is that Gucci postcard. I'm going to put it right here because it's going to give you chills. "Dear future self, oh, you magic woman, look what you did." Isn't that insane? That was the message that came out of my hand on that postcard that I felt I needed to send. And it arrived after this huge magical moment. That's crazy. That kind of stuff happens to me all the time. I think those sort of things are available to all of us. Our gifts and our pathways to that intuition and knowing and action, they're all going to be a little different. But I think that ability is accessible to all of us. And actually, I'll add to that, human design is a profound tool. Your human design body graph and what it reveals, it's like the owner operator's manual to how your energy works and how you work with the universe and how you work with other people. Inside each of our charts, there are these clues and kernels and tools and pathways, clear pathways. It's like a roadmap of how you can, it's called decondition yourself, which is the unfucking. To decondition oneself is to unfuck oneself. And it shows you a clear pathway. And it also tells you what your gifts are. And what's wild is that our modern world and society, bless their heart, often tells us that our gifts are our weaknesses. And so then you might spend a lot of time trying to undo that thing that really you just need to harness in a different way. What's something most people misunderstand about living an artful life? Okay, so here's the thing. This is where I find people getting too much in their heads, man. Here's the deal. You can live an artful life even if you don't see yourself as an artist, even if you don't see yourself as creative, even if you think you need to have someone else show you or create the artful experience for you. That ability, possibility, and capability is inside you. I 1,000,000% believe and am certain we are all made creatively. We are born that way. You are already an artist. So, artful living is accessible for all of us. People might also think that artful living has to be expensive, and that's not true. It's just not. It really is about being able to identify accessible moments of beauty, which are around us all the time. And what's incredible is the practice of identifying beauty is really an elevated experience of a gratitude practice. It is the most profound experience to live where you walk through your day, even the mundane, even the like shitty, boring parts. You're able to say, wow, look at the shade of green. Or look at the way the light is coming through this window and this gorgeous lamp casts a shadow on the wall. It brings you to the present. It brings you to the present, and you're identifying a piece of beauty around you. And it really shifts you on an energetic level and on your ability to get present and look around you and identify something that stirs something within you. Even if you can't put words to it, that's okay. Sit in a moment and look around you, and you can identify the feeling in your body, or does it spark a memory? And then tune into your senses. This is artful living. It doesn't have to be creating beautiful art or spaces. Yes, it is that, but it's so much more. Bum, bum, bum. Welcome to the lightning round. Coffee order. If it's morning time, I'm going to do a cafe au lait with oat milk, but I only like Oatly oat milk. It's afternoon, an iced oat latte with oat milk. Recurring symbol. Ooh, everything symbols to me. I do ask my departed ones, people I love who are dead, grandmother, my grandfather, and now my mom. I ask them to show up with certain symbols in my life, and I see them a lot. If you're more curious about that whole idea, Laura Lynn Jackson, she wrote a book called Signs. You can talk to the dead people. A book currently on my nightstand. Well, I have like 100 books on my nightstand. I feel like the keeper of books. It's important to buy books, to hold on to books, to save books, to share books, to spread books, to read them. Physical books. I'm currently reading a series called Daughters of La Lune or Daughters of the Moon. It's the first book, The Witch of Painted Sorrows. It is early 1900s Paris, generational magic, glamour. I'm on book 2 now. Somebody's talking to dead people through jewelry. Yes, please. Favorite era to dress like? Oh, okay. I don't dress like anything. I can identify in and love. Like, okay, so I'll go through hyperfixated moments on things. Right now, super into 1920s to early 1940s fashion, not just how it looks, but how materials and construction changed according to what was going on. The metal zipper changed everything. Or as we are in war times, you see a lot more of rayon and less zippers, less closures, and adornment. Bias cut, why that happened, that fascinates me. I don't like 80s clothing. I don't like Y2K clothing. The baggy thing that is happening, I was there the first round of it. If you want to see a picture of me from 2002 wearing a pair of Jinkos, too bad, because it would have been on film, and I don't have those photos anymore, and digital cameras did not really exist. Smartphones did not exist. Been there, done that. I hate the baggy clothes. You're going to look back in 15 years and be like, why? Why did I do that? Who thought that was good? If your life had a scent, what notes would it have? Ooh, frankincense, benzoin, tonka bean, cinnamon, lavender, and ooh, blackberry, real blackberry, the vine. Yeah. Morning ritual I never skip. I would like to say it's my tarot card pulls or like lighting a candle in the morning, and I go through seasons of that. But the reality is, I love my cup of coffee in the morning. I love it. The silent cup where people aren't awake yet. It's really just for me. Favorite way to romanticize an ordinary day. Oh my God, get your sketchbook. Get your sketchbook, go somewhere outside, sit at a cafe, go to a cute spot you've always wanted to try, go to the botanical garden, carry a little pouch of pencils or a little watercolor set, go to a museum. Oh my God, go to a museum. Don't be scared of doing these things alone. It will change your life. How many of you live in a city that has a museum of art that you have not been to or have not been to by yourself with yourself on a date? You've got a favorite restaurant that maybe you've never taken yourself to sit and have lunch alone. Take a sketchbook. I'm telling you, a sketchbook is a magic tool. I take mine with me everywhere. I like to sit at cafes and draw, and people love to talk to me about that, and I love to talk to them. Signature lipstick, the Gucci lipsticks. I haven't bought any since Alessandro left Gucci because I still have, full tubes. The packaging from that era was so good. I highly recommend you find some of that before they change it to something boring. I also love MAC lipstick, especially MAC Russian Red, which was supposedly the shade that Carolyn Bessette Kennedy wore. Signature fragrance. I have a few in rotation. Currently use Ada's brand, a small boutique fragrance atelier in New York City on Orchard Street near 9 Orchard Hotel. It is magical. They can match you to your scent. It's insane. They have their own line of fragrance. I have been wearing for a couple years Cafe Tabac. It's weird. I like weird fragrances. I also currently am loving Bien Aimé out of Paris. It was a fragrance house from the early 1900s, particularly signature to the 1920s. It shuttered, and then this woman, this brilliant businesswoman and investor, a couple years ago went and bought the house and bought the name, bought all of the original formulas and brought them back. Their perfume house in Paris is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. It's like time traveling. The fragrances are very much like what you might have found on your grandmother or great grandmother's dresser, but those are coming back. I'm just calling it gold, silver, or something ancient looking. I have worn gold primarily for years, real gold, because I can shower in it. People are going to yell at me for that. You probably still shouldn't do that, but I do. Silver, I've been mixing metals recently. Mixed metals are back. It's great because even though silver prices are going up right now, of course, silver is more affordable than gold. Gold prices are going up right now too. I love historical jewelry. That's maybe my latest fixation. I love mid to late Victorian pieces, especially things with snake motifs and morning jewelry. I love Georgian and Edwardian rings. I do have this kind of magnet inside me right now for antique hat pins or stick pins. A lot of people don't really know what to price them at. So I find them at yard sales a lot for like $3. And also, I like collecting the hinged bracelets that are etched and engraved. They're often gold fill. They are from the early 1900s. I love sweetheart bracelets that are on these like crazy expanding things with these hearts and glass paste jewels. I love paste jewelry. So much of our fashion and accessories tell stories of who we were and where we came from and what was going on in the world around us. And there's a great book you could read called The Cartiers, written by the great granddaughter of the dynasty, and it is the history of the Cartier jewelry house. But it really tells the history of the rise and fall of nations, the dispersing of money, war, innovations in materials and metals often prompted by war or the sudden collapse of a nation, particularly the Russian Empire. Who, living or dead, would you trust to design your wardrobe? I am obsessed with Elsa Schiaparelli. Obsessed. She's always been in the canon of great designers. There was a great biography. No, it's a book called Shocking, written by a woman whose mother wore Schiaparelli perfumes, which the perfume bottles were designed by Salvador Dali. They're gorgeous. The perfume illustrations are very inspirational to me. And that book is great. You should read it. What time of day does your magic peak? I like this. I like to paint first thing in the morning. My best painting hours come between 8 and 11:30 a.m. The archetype you're embodying this season. Oh my God, I love working with archetypes. I feel like I'm kind of in my high priestess era and also a little bit of the empress. Yeah, high priestess and empress. Those are my gals. City that feels like deja vu. Paris. Everything is Paris. If you could time travel to an art scene in history, where would you go? I'd like to hang with the surrealist. I would like to be in New York and just like have a glimpse inside the de Kooning studios. Elaine de Kooning more than anything. Can I come hang out, Hilma F. Clint, and your girlfriends at your spiritualist meetings? Young me would have said Picasso Studios, but he's kind of a dick, definitely a dick. You could read Francois Gillot's book, My Life with Picasso. Dream hotel I haven't stayed in yet. I mean, these, they're like crazy luxury hotels. Of course, I would love to see those. I would love to do like a painting activation there or do a residency like Ludwig Bemelman did at the Carlisle in New York. There are quite a few. Really, there's just so many beautiful things. There are some great hoteliers in the States that are doing these boutique hotels that I would love to do mini residencies in or portrait events or just come and like paint their beautiful spaces. I will shout out my friends at Nine Orchard. I've done several things with them and it's one of the greatest hotel experiences I've ever had. They put warm cookies on your pillow at bed. And they have like this sound system and they like turn on jazz in the evenings and a warm cookie. I mean, come on. Okay, I think that's it.